Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm reading for Scorpio energy today. So I've got something really interesting to me through. I don't know how many of you are going to associate with the kind of this intuitive message that came through. It could just be like one of you are specifically playing this computer game, but it could be coming through symbolically in different ways for different Scorpios. So take anything that resonates and leave anything that doesn't. What's really curious to me is I'm quite certain that King Charles is a Scorpio, and I'm actually recording this by chance on the day of the Queen's funeral procession at Westminster Palace thing. So that's curious to me because I'm getting mum through. Now, I get mum regularly with Scorpio because my mum was a Scorpio. She's passed over now. So basically what happened was I was kind of going about my business and I thought, oh, I've got Scorpio's reading. And it's like this energy came over me, and it's the energy that comes over me. It kind of makes me tired. It kind of makes me kind of feel like I have to kind of lie down and just listen to my inner voice. And this energy came over me, and I was like, it feels like mum. It feels like mum's here because I'm doing Scorpio's reading, right? So my mum coming in as a guide for all of us. But this thing about the mother is coming through. So very curious because obviously King Charles is Scorpio. He's just, done this very, very public ceremony in regards to his mother. So I don't think I'm reading for King Charles, but it's like I can see how it applies to other people, basically. And then I had this whole vision play through where I was under a tree, and this tree was kind of like, I'm not saying anything about the royal family here, by the way, but like the tree was very kind of like black and rotten. Like the land was rotten, the earth was rotten, the fruit with the tree was rotten. It made me think of that song by No Doubt, Don't Speak. So if you remember the visual of the music video and the artwork of the album cover, they had kind of like the rotten peach. So it's making me think of this, like rotten. So again, that's not me saying anything about the monarchy because it actually, the vision changes. I just want to make that clear. But it, so I had this whole thing about the rotten tree, and then I felt uncomfortable in that space, right, in this vision that I was receiving, and I was like, I don't like this, I want to move out of it. So I'm trying to move out of it by kind of like controlling the vision, a bit like active dreaming or lucid dreaming, where I was like, I'm going to use the different techniques I have to kind of get out of these spaces into a different space. But as I was trying to move away from this space, I felt like something was tying around my leg. So these are kind of the key symbolisms. Mother, rotten landscape, rotten environment, and getting tied by the leg, right? Getting kind of caught up in something. So these, remember these three kind of symbolic things. And eventually I did kind of fight the vision, and I did kind of get myself loose, and I found myself in this kind of much more nurturing landscape. I can't remember what it's called. Is it the Hesperides, is it? I studied classics, but I can never pronounce anything. Hesperides, is it? Yeah. Oh, they were the nymphs of the evening and golden light of sunsets. But there was like a place where it was like a really kind of luscious environment where these trees would grow with the golden apples in Greek mythology, and I found myself somewhere much more like that. So a much more golden environment, almost a richer environment with these golden apples. So I'm not quite sure what the symbolism of that is, that I kind of moved from a space that was kind of like dead and rotten to a space that was very luscious and green with this like really golden fruit, right? But there could be something to that. So this vision ended, and I kind of came out of that kind of state, and as I always do, I kind of asked Spotify to randomize a song for me to give me more information. And now obviously I hadn't spoken anything out loud, but I randomized the song, and the song was Horizon by Andrew Rayel. Now I can read the lyrics of it to you from that song in a moment. I'm seeing 444 on the timestamp, but Horizon by Andrew Rayel, and it almost immediately, through some kind of sixth sense, I was like, hang on a second, isn't Horizon some kind of game development company or computer game? I was like, there's something in my head that's like making me think Horizon Gaming. Now, I don't know this game, and I just don't know much about it other than it kind of like rang a bell, because it's actually called, the game that got me to when I kind of googled it was Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West. And it's a new game. It's out this year, 2022. I've not really seen any footage of it and had no idea what it was about, other than I guess seen the name around on social media was the extent of my knowledge. I didn't even know if it was a game or a game company. Like Blizzard or something like that. I didn't know. So I had to like look it up. So it was fascinating to me though, because I was like, I'm sure that I'm being guided to this game for some reason. I'm sure that whatever I'm receiving here is like, it really was coming through really strongly, intuitively. I was like, it's something about this game. So I sat there and I kind of went on YouTube to find like gameplay footage of it to see if there was more information coming through. And I found a YouTuber who kind of was doing a playthrough of it called the Rad Brad, just to kind of like say where I got this from, because it's like credit to the information. And he was playing the game from the start, and there was this whole dream sequence, and it was exactly, well, very, very, very similar to what I'd seen in the vision. So it's this girl, and she's talking about, I think her name is like, what is her name? Is it like Isabel or Isbeth or something like that, which is similar to Elizabeth? I need to check that actually, because that didn't occur to me yesterday, and now I'm like, hang on. Horizon. I'm actually going to check that. I'm going to pause and check it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the footage. And again, this, if you want to see more of this, and all the credit to the channel, which is the Rad Brad, and it's footage from Horizon Forbidden West. So I just want to give all the credit to the source here. I'm just going to show you this dream sequence. And yes, she's not her mother, but she says she's like a mother, and she is called like Elizabeth or something like that, which obviously like King Charles's mother was. I'm mind blown. So I'm going to just pause while I set this up, and then I'll kind of like show you the footage. Okay, so just watch for all the things I mentioned. So Elizabeth, mother, the tree, the like everything being rotten, and the leg, right, getting tied up by the leg. Just watch this. So you can just see my phone there. It's a little bit dark, I'm sorry.
I have the same dream.
Every night I have the same dream. So it's like mind blowing to me.
I'm walking under a brilliant night sky, through a field of flowers.
Sorry about my phone reflection.
I arrive at the center. I see you, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth, mother.
Waiting for me. Even though you've been dead for 1,000 years.
I am not making this up, guys. This is legitimately how...
You're the closest person I've ever had to a mother.
This is legitimately how it came through. I had the vision, was given the song Horizon.
And for a moment, I feel whole.
By Spotify. It led me to this computer game that I have never seen this footage before. I didn't know anything about this game. It's a PlayStation 5 game.
Never lasts.
It never lasts. And then look at everything going rotten. Oh. And then the leg, right? Getting caught up by the leg. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, I will try to remember to, I'm actually just going to circle it now to link to that video if you want to see more of that. But isn't that mad that I saw all that in a vision, right? Those key things like the rotten tree, mother, the leg being grabbed, and like specifically in the vision, although my vision flips, that vision kind of went from the nice environment that went rotten, and mine was like the rotten environment that went golden. So I almost had like the reverse of it. But those key elements, like, and I've been doubting my intuition like the past few days. I was talking to my friend about it in work. I was like, I just... like, you know, sometimes I think, is it just all in my head? Is this just coincidence? And it's so specific. I'm like, it can't be coincidence. And like King Charles is like a Scorpio. His mum's called Elizabeth. It's mad to me. It's so it's just, I couldn't make it up if I tried. And again, I don't know that game. It's a PlayStation game. I don't have a PlayStation. I've not had a PlayStation since like the original console, which is over 10 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, something like that, since I've last had a PlayStation. So that game almost completely went over my head. It must just be, you know, because I'd like heard the name, I've heard people talking about it, that it was in my, you know, that it tugged on my consciousness at all. So that was mad to me. So I also got the song Mother Nature by Tayla, Parx and Femme Forward. So Mother again, Nature again. I am shooketh to the chorus, and it's about to be 2:44 on my 24-hour clock. So there we go. So 1444. Yeah, so 444, you've had that twice now, and it's 44 on the timestamp as I look at the time here. So watch out for number 4s. This talks about foundations, it talks about stability, it talks about longevity, it talks about home. So I am mind blown. So we could be getting messages again, because that game, from what I saw from that the Rad Brad, is that his name? Yeah, the Rad Brad video, was that it is a story about protecting nature and terraforming and like Mother Gaia, and then you've got that Mother Nature song. It's blowing my mind. It really, really is. And like, again, I'm not making anything up here. It's like genuinely how this all happened. Andrew Rail. So I'm just looking up the song, because I don't even know this song particularly well. I don't remember how it even got onto my playlist. I have seen the place in my sleep at night. Like, it's the same thing. I'm going mad. I have seen the place in my sleep at night. If I reach out, I can touch it. Still a world away till the stars align. Hear a call, feel it coming. Where I want to be, young eternity. Somewhere that we can go to. We will never fade. Out there is a way. Come, let me show you. So meet me on the horizon at the point of no return. Close your eyes and you will find it. Touch the light and let it burn. We're going where there's no going back, disappearing to the everlast. So meet me on the horizon. We'll escape. We can even shape our fate. So come along and let's escape. You don't have to wait. Yeah, so like, I don't know what this is. I've gone really dizzy. I don't know what this is for you, Scorpio. It's kind of deep, right? And it doesn't surprise me, because you are a sign that is all about, you know, you're ruled by Pluto, which Pluto's the god of the underworld, right? It's the god of death. So it's like you of all the signs, you tend to be, again, depending on your full birth chart and your experiences, but Pluto energy, Scorpio energy itself is probably very comfortable with talking about these kinds of things. So you are, because you're mostly associated with it. So again, it depends on your personal journey and things like that. I'm just talking about the energy of Scorpio and Pluto itself. So it doesn't surprise me that things like this should come up in your reading. And then it's just mad that I didn't even realize, like yesterday, because I got these messages last night, right? And I didn't even connect it to, until like I went downstairs and like watched that funeral procession and everything like that, and the, you know, the funeral in Westminster Palace. I didn't even connect it with Prince Charles and King Charles and Queen Elizabeth until right now. And I think it's only because during that I googled Camilla Parker Bowles, who is like Queen Consort now. It's Camilla Queen Consort. I googled her birth chart, and she's Cancer. She's Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Mercury, and Cancer Venus. So I don't know, I thought that was really lovely. Like, 'cause Cancer's a really nurturing, loving energy that really cares about stability and holding on to things and loving and nurturing and providing support. And I thought, actually, do you know what? She seems like the right person for the job. Again, I don't know what you think of like the monarchy and things like this, you know, and I don't know what you make of the messages that I'm giving you, because they can be interpreted in different ways, but it's just really interesting. And the thing about don't speak as well, I don't know if there's something that can't be said or can't be spoken about. And then I looked across to where I keep my tarot cards, and my little zippy figure was like looking at me, and he has his mouth zipped, so I don't know what this don't speak is. You are the high priestess in the tarot, and high priestess tends to not say everything she knows. I don't know, should I be telling you this? But then I also got a message for you, and it came in full sentences, and it was, it doesn't matter what people think, it doesn't matter what people think, the only thing that matters is what you know. That is profound, right? It doesn't matter what people think. The only thing that matters is what you know. So really fascinating to me, the messages that are coming through for you already. And I kind of just want to get into it. So I don't want to purposely read for King Charles, like that is not my intention in any sort of way. I just know, I'm not even sure. Let me just Google. I think he's a Scorpio. I think he's a Scorpio, and I think he's got like some kind of strong Taurus placement from last time I looked. King Charles the Third, star sign. Yeah, he's a Scorpio. So fascinating, absolutely fascinating to me. Right, let's see what you get then. If there's a king card in this. If the king card comes out, I am gonna like scream. Scorpio, what's going on for Scorpio today, please? So not intentionally reading general Scorpio energy. Again, I started with my mum, it somehow went elsewhere. So general Scorpio energy, please. The prayer and the cave. Yeah, no king. Which I'm kind of disappointed in. Because I was ready to be like, oh my god. Yeah, okay, the cave and the prayer. And what did I say? Don't speak with Zippy. Something that cannot be said. I always think it's like this is like someone else's hand and they're trying to remove it. A prayer that can't be said. A prayer that can't be said. What could that be? So let's have a read then. A prayer that can't be said. Let's read the prayer first, because it's the first card that I saw. That feels kind of like, you know, I don't know, just again thinking about the whole very, very public funeral that the Queen has just had, and how people are doing speeches and things. You know, she was the head of the Church of England, so it's like you have to go you know, a lot of people were reading scripture and things, and again it's like perhaps there's somebody in some kind of situation. So this could be something that you're experiencing, Scorpio, where it's like perhaps you pray a certain way, or you have a certain, it doesn't have to be religious either, it could just be something that you say, right? Something that you see as the right thing to say, or what you feel like should be said in a certain situation, where perhaps the rules of that other situation, or the opinions of something else, mean that you feel like you can't say what you want to say. Does that make any sense? So like it could be like, you know, it's like your words aren't welcome in that situation, because that situation demands a different thing. It's funny as well, because I know I some of you may know I studied Shakespeare. I've always really loved Shakespeare, and you know, always been really drawn to it and the language of it. And you know, there's different ideas being thrown around, because Shakespeare is writing originally under Queen Elizabeth Queen Elizabeth I, and James the First of England. James was he sixth of Scotland. So he was writing under different monarchs, and you know, writing to please them. You know, and with these monarchs with different beliefs and different religions. You know, Queen Elizabeth I was Protestant, and King James, I believe, was Catholic. So you know, having to be careful what you say and what you perform under perhaps the person who's in charge. So there could be something like that happening for you. But also all this, because I'm not particularly, my nose is kind of crackling, I'm sorry if that's really annoying to any of you, but can't really stop it. My language is Shakespeare. Like a lot of the time I can find something in Shakespeare to and it doesn't have to be Shakespeare, it doesn't have to be religion for you, it could just be, you know, a film that you really love, that, you know, or a book, like a book series that you really love, where, you know, when things happen you fall back onto that like toolbox of words, right? So it could be Lord of the Rings, you know, you could love the books, you could love the movies, and when something happens, you can find the language, you can find the things to say from that resource. So for me, it's like I know King Charles, and again, whatever you think of him, I am very black and white, and not black and white, I'm very like grey area. Like I don't think one thing or another thing. I think situations are complicated. So but what I do like about King Charles is that he's a patron of the Royal Shakespeare Company, who do these brilliant productions of Shakespeare. And again, Shakespeare is sometimes very irreverent and, you know, criticizes bad monarchs. And sometimes he's very praising to others and very flattering. But it's interesting because it's almost like the work of Shakespeare provides a rule book for a monarch, right? Somebody coming into power, because there's all this advice like, don't listen to the people who are like flattering panderers, because they're going to tell you what you want to hear and they may not give you good advice. So for me, I always love King Lear. I think King Lear's a brilliant play in terms of like, sorry if you're not into Shakespeare, just, but there's something in this, right? There's a reason why I'm talking about this. So it could be for you, Shakespeare. Hi Shakespeare, if you're watching my videos. Scorpio, you could find yourself in a position of influence or a position of authority or a position of power, and it's like, be very careful about the company you keep, right? Be very careful about who is around you, because what are they saying and why are they saying it? They could be giving you bad advice because they want to flatter you, or because they want to get close to you to have some of that power or influence, or they want to like, you know, you to be a patron to them and like spend your money on them. So it's like, why are those people around you? And look for the honest people. So King Lear is a brilliant play, because it really juxtaposes the you know, his two daughters. He's got three daughters, but two of them are really just out for a piece of his pie, right? They want a piece of his kingdom. And then the third daughter, who's Cordelia, she's a truth speaker, and this line has been popping up into my head all morning, and I may misquote it, but it's I cannot pull my heart into my mouth. So let me just get that line so I quote it accurately. So he's asking everybody to publicly say, you know, wonderful things about him. He's like, I'm going to divide up my kingdom between my three daughters. Whoever loves me the most publicly by saying the right things gets the biggest piece of the kingdom. And his favorite daughter Cordelia can't do it, you know. So Goneril and Reagan, they come up and they say these like things that they don't mean but sound great in front of his court. But Cordelia can't find the words, because she does love him, but the words don't do that love justice. They're not, anything she says sounds like flattery or disingenuine, right? So King Lear, I'm just going to look up the quote. I cannot heave my heart. Yeah. Unhappy as I am, I can't express in words the things that are in my heart. I love your majesty according to my duty as a daughter, no more or no less. That doesn't mean that she doesn't love him, and he takes it as an insult because he misunderstands what she's saying. So it's like the famous crux of the play. It's like where it all goes wrong. But he also has this advisor called Kent, who again is a truth speaker. And so when King Lear loses his temper and he's like, do you know what, I'm going to throw Cordelia out of my kingdom, she's no longer my daughter, and all this kind of stuff, because he loses his temper, he's embarrassed, right? Kent is the one saying, don't do that, that's a really bad idea. And the other truth speaker in that play is his fool. So it's and I always think of King Charles, because he's a patron of Shakespeare, I always associate him with Nuncle. I'm like, if I ever meet him, I'm calling him Nuncle, my Nuncle. And it's what his fool tells him, right? And also this other quote, which is from Twelfth Night, where he says, there's no harm in an allowed fool, though all he do is rail. That's Olivia, I think. So this idea of like, listen to the truth speakers, and when you fall from power, who is going to be there at your side? You know, if you think about Richard II, he's all these people who are like just, you know, telling him what he wants to hear. When the shit hits the fan, they fuck off. Sorry, my swears are coming out now. You know, some of you know I've got a bit of a potty mouth, but like you know, they all desert him and he's left alone, and it hits him hard, right? Where Bolingbroke, you know, his supporters, you know, are a little bit more quid pro quo. They're a little bit more like earned loyalty, and yeah, it's like when King Lear's kind of like out, kicked out of his own castles by his own daughters, and he's roaming the kind of British countryside in this storm, and he's going mad. It's like, Kent's still there with him in disguise, right? And the fool's still there with him, like, at his side. So the people who he relies upon are actually, the people who he didn't value. He didn't value that honesty and that loyalty when he should have done originally. So there's something like that happening here, I feel, where it's like, it could be that you're in a position of power in some sort of way, Scorpio, and it's like, be careful, because don't let flattery go to your head. Don't let, your ego be inflated by keeping the people around you who, say what you want to hear. And I used to have a boss like this as well. I used to have a boss who, she would keep people close if they kind of like were toadies to her. And if you disagreed with her, you could find yourself pushed out. But I was very, very lucky, because again, like, I was kind of Queen of Swords in it, where, I would tell her my honest opinion, and I would, be willing to fight for that and back it up. And quite a lot of time, actually, she had the insight to recognize that truthful loyalty, right? The honest loyalty of somebody who's going to tell you the truth, even though you might get pushed out. There was a little bit of social games going on there, I think, with her. But yeah, just what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? You could also be in a position where somebody does have power over you, or they are in a position to, I don't know, give you a job, or, have you join some kind of event or something like that. And just be careful. You may be in a position where you feel like you can't speak your honest truth, because if you speak your honest truth, perhaps you wouldn't be welcome by that person or that situation anymore. So there could be something like that going on. And let's just read the cards. The prayer, the worship, the reverence, the homage. What is prayer? When we are in a state of prayer, and when are we not? To whom and what do we pray? Archetypally, the message of prayer the practice of prayer has been with us since the dawn of time, as a remedy for the omnipresent self-centered thinking that spins us towards illusion. Prayer leads us beyond our ego, as we move from our little story to the big one. Some say we are in a state of prayer anytime we are not the center of our own thoughts. Others say prayer is a natural result of gratitude. Perhaps it is simply surrender or service. Whatever prayer is for you, this card reminds us of its importance. Get quiet, low, humble, and soft. Bow and touch the ground as your heart lifts to the sky. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is time. Nothing else will do. So perhaps you are being asked to be humble, be relevant. I have not yet learned to bend the knee. What is it? What does Richard II say in the deep disposition scene? I've not yet learned to flatter, to bow, to bend the knee, something like that. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is not time. Nothing else will do. When light, offering to be of service, asking for guidance. When dark, expecting results or self-aggrandizement. Go deeper, ask to be of service. Every song, kiss, breath, word can become a prayer. It is a feeling, not an action. Consider the ancient mantra, Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. I bow to the creative consciousness within. I bow to the teacher within, which is exactly what I was doing when I kind of went into that meditative state and received that whole visual of like the tree and the mother and getting wrapped by the leg. It's exactly what played out in that game. So fascinating to me when you actually listen to the messages that are coming from within you, rather than somebody who's stood on a podium in front of you, preaching perhaps. Experiment with the act of bowing down. Nearly all spiritual traditions make a practice of prostration. So the cave. The dark, the portal, the interior. For those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It's a place of potent power. I associate this with Capricorn energy, by the way. I don't know if somebody's got Cappy in the chart, because they had this whole thing about their heart space and like going on this whole inner journey for a while. But anyone can apply to it. I just thought I don't know, got prompted to say it. It's a place of potent power, acting both as a portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat where one can see the true self in the darkness. So this is what it's saying, right? Go within, go inside where, you know, like almost like the Hermit card, right? Go within, explore your own inner thoughts and feelings on a situation, ask for guidance from within, right? From that higher self. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat where one can see the true self in the darkness. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls, the whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard. Yet because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city while the cavernous and dimly lit chamber calls out to us in the night. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend the fire. Something else as well, Prince Charles is kind of a bit eco-conscious. He has this vibe sometimes of like worrying about the Patagonian toothfish, or, you know, worrying about you know, the environment and things like that. And that's another thing, again, a lot of things I like and dislike about every situation, every person, right? We're all made of light and shadow, but one thing I do like is this eco-conscious reputation that he has. When light, the sacred center within, when dark, withdrawal, isolation, or hiding. Go deeper, Lascaux, the cave of crystals, the blue grotto. Envision yourself as an old sage in a cave. What amenities do you need? What draws you even closer to the cave within the cave? Slowly and steadily, crystals of enormous magnitude grow within the dark confines of caves. Let the cave teach you patience. Okay, I want to know what this silencing is about. I'm gonna get... What do I want to get for this? Let's go Tarot de la Nuit. It's a bit of a dark and mysterious kind of water sign type deck. So let's see what this has to say. So what for Scorpio, what is the thing that can't be said? What is the truth that can't be spoken? Judgment, King of Pentacles, and Page of Pentacles. That feels like patronage. It really, really does. It feels like having a patron. The King of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. It's like the literal meaning. The Judgment card is a revival of something, a second chance. Look at this tree as well. Like they're going through this portal in this tree. So it's like, and I always think it's like she's looking back saying, are you coming with me? I don't know, maybe she kind of gives me like Lord of the Rings vibes. So maybe this is something to do with like the Rings of Power. I'm up to episode 3. I've not watched episode 4 yet. So I'm sorry if there's any spoilers that I'm unintentionally doing. Yeah, Judgment card. So again, that idea of like having good judgment, right? Judging a situation carefully, that can come into play here. But judgment is like hearing the call, knowing where you've got to go, knowing what you have to do, and feeling like a deep soul call to do that thing. So what is calling to you from the deepest, darkest places of your heart, right? What is your instinct telling you to move towards? And it does have this sense of like being brought back from the dead in a way. I know that people have been making some jokes about that with the Queen, but like let's move swiftly on from that. But this idea of like being revived, a situation being revived, something that you thought was over, but it's having a second chance. It's got new life being breathed into it. Or it could kind of like the Wheel of Fortune talk about a new phase. Now, the King of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles together. The King of Pentacles is somebody in a position of wealth and power. It is Taurus energy. It doesn't have to be a Taurus. Page of Pentacles, I think more of as probably any earth sign, really. Maybe Virgo energy. Doesn't have to be those signs. But the King of Pentacles it could easily be Scorpio. Again, you're ruled by Pluto, who is the god of wealth. So wealth, prosperity. You may have quite a lot of money. You may have a lot of resources. You may have a lot of skills. But the King of Pentacles, he's worked hard to get to where he is, because he knows what he's doing, right? He knows the ins and outs of whatever industry he's in, whatever home he's in. He really he's very, very skilled. It does have a slight material aspect to it, so it does kind of carry this warning of don't get so caught up with like the shiny things that you forget about the heart space. But the King of Pentacles, earth energy, does tend to be very, very nurturing, right? Things grow for this person because they put the heart into it. So if you are under the patronage of the King of Pentacles, you know, you're going to be nurtured, you're going to have growth, you're going to receive investment. Now, the Page of Pentacles is a student energy. It can indicate a child, but it's somebody who's learning. So this person's learning about the world of finance, perhaps. They're learning about how to manage the resources. They're learning about how to do the job, right? It's like, here, this is a job that you've been, you know, maybe it's like an apprentice, like literally, like this is the boss, this is the apprentice. It's like, let me show you the ropes, let me show you how this is done, this is how you file this report, this is how you put this thing together, you know. So it's like learning the practical skills, with it being the Page of Pentacles. It can indicate an offer, but I normally see that more as like the Ace of Pentacles. This is somebody who's like got an idea or got an offer or got some money, and they're putting it to good use, right? They're working hard to learn the ropes. So really strong patron and like apprentice energy really coming through very, very strongly there. But this can't be said. Why can it not be said? It's interesting to me as well, because this is the outdoorsy King of Pentacles. It's like the castle's in the background. So again, this idea of somebody who likes to be in nature. They like to be out of the house. They like to be going for walks in the woods. Very connected perhaps to that Mother Gaia energy, Mother Nature energy, you know, a respect for the natural resources. Because again, now I don't know if everybody knows this, but if you look into the mythology of Pluto, Hades, Dispater, those equivalent gods from classics, one of the jobs, and this was a job that they were doing, they were not like the devil, they were not this scary Grim Reaper character, that was a different god's job. They were actually just doing a job where they were keeping the underworld in check, right? They were keeping that realm that they had been that they'd drawn by a lot. They were taking the job seriously and kind of, you know, keeping everything in order, you know, making sure the souls weren't escaping to the earth and all this kind of stuff. So he was a very stoic god. He was a very serious god, a bit melancholy perhaps, but he one of his jobs, one of his duties, was to put vital nutrients and minerals into the earth, precious metals, gemstones, to put these things into the earth from below, so that the people on the earth could have these resources, so you know that plants could grow. Plants, so if you think about the death and growth cycle of you know, something rotting, an apple, perhaps an apple falls from a tree, it rots, it puts nutrients into the ground, which then, you know, are drawn up by the trees that are growing. So this is something that I feel like this King of Pentacles understands, okay, and perhaps wants to teach to you, or you are wanting to teach this to somebody else. But here's the Devil with the Page. That is a siren. That is a siren. Look, she's about to walk off the edge of this cliff. What an absolutely curious reading you've got going on here. So who is Scorpio? Who is Scorpio? Tell me about Scorpio's current energy. Queen of Cups, Cancerian energy, and Ten of Wands. Love is a burden. Love is a burden. It's leading me straight to this Tower moment. Love is a burden. It's leading me to this Tower moment because this thing that I'm drawn to feels like a disaster waiting to happen. It's like the warmth of the sun, this love that warms me up, is temptation, right? It is the devil with the apple. It's leading me to my downfall. It's leading me to my destruction. I should have known, I was going to get an interesting reading. My love is a burden. I'm hearing I'm willing to carry. So who you love, perhaps loving someone, having to keep it secret, feeling like perhaps, again, this idea of like it's wrapped around your leg, right? It's like you're tied up with something, you're caught up with something emotionally. It doesn't have to be love, it doesn't have to be a relationship, but there's this thing that you're drawn to, this thing that is calling to you. It's very compelling to you. It's magnetic. It's got your heart. You feel all caught up in it. But it comes with heavy baggage. It comes with this sense of burdens, of responsibility, of a disaster waiting to happen. So you can't say it, because if you say it, it's like the Tower will happen. God, I'm very dizzy all of a sudden. I'm actually just going to pause and drink some water. Okay, so before we continue, I'm going to get a song on this. If I get an advert, I'll just have to pause and let the advert play through. Funnily enough, the song that came on Spotify that's just come up now, before I went down to watch the Queen's funeral, and it sounds disrespectful, but this is again genuinely what happened. I was just listening to Spotify, paused it, went down to watch the whole parade, is that the right? It's funny as well, Libra's reading, the last song that came through for Libra, which I'm a Libra, was, and it didn't occur to me because I'm an idiot, I don't put two and two together enough. It's like I have this intuition and I'm so rubbish at like applying it. I'm just seeing a plane. I don't know if planes is, wow, it actually looks like a military plane. It's grey. That is an unusual, because normally it's commercial flights. That is it looks like a commercial flight plane, but it's really low to the earth and it's really grey. It's not like a white plane like I'd normally see. That's curious as well. What am I saying to you? So the song, coincidentally, and I didn't think about it at the time until I just kind of like looked at it. It occurred to me while I was watching the funeral. I was like, oh my god, that's the last song that I listened to. But it's The Show Must Go On. The Show Must Go On by Queen. How mad is that? Right before I went down to watch the Queen's funeral. I can fly, my friends. My soul is painted like the wings of butterflies. Fairy tales of yesterday will grow but never die. I can fly, my friends. The show must go on. Wow. Can I get a song innuendo as well? It's like the picture on the front cover of this album is this guy dressed up as a clown. He's like juggling the planets. Tell me please about this situation here. Oh my god. Undisclosed Desires by Muse. Undisclosed Desires. I know you've suffered, but I don't want you to hide. It's cold and loveless. I won't let you be denied. Soothing, I'll make you feel pure, and trust me, you can be sure. I want to reconcile the violence in your heart. I want to recognize your beauty is not just a mask. I want to exorcise the demons from your past. I want to satisfy the undisclosed desires in your heart. You trick your lovers. Whoa, what is going on here with you? You trick your lovers. I mean, that's not the meaning of the cards necessarily, but visually with those images, that's what it's looking like to me. Like, that's what you think, right? You trick your lovers that you're wicked and divine. You may be a sinner, but your innocence is mine. Please me, show me how it's done. Tease me, you are the one. Wow. And then it just repeats from there. Wow, that is wow. Do I even want to do this reading? I always assume like it's not for me to decide what messages come through and what messages don't come through, although sometimes I do get uncomfortable and I take videos down because I worry about what I've said, but I try to trust my guides. I try to let the videos go up no matter what, because these messages are coming from beyond me, right? They're coming from something higher or something lower, I don't know. But the message, I think both, to be honest, like, but the messages are coming from something beyond me as a human being. There's something that I'm tapping into that's trying to communicate in some sort of way, right? And it's like, who am I? Again, this idea of like humbling myself. Who am I to decide what messages get through and what messages don't? So it's scary for me. It's scary for me to be the messenger of whatever these messages are. But emotions, please. There you are, High Priestess. Communication, not speaking. Again, the High Priestess knows, but they don't say. And balance. Unless you're me. Unless you've got Gemini placement, then you're probably going to say too much. I try to be tactful. I try to moderate what I'm saying and put it into context, but sometimes the messages could just come through and I worry about it afterwards. There's that new beginning. There's that like creative, passionate, creative opportunity. High Priestess. The cards feel weird. I feel weird. Okay, God, 10 of Swords. 8 of Swords and the Hierophant. Trapped by the institution, trapped by the traditions, trapped by the way things should be done. Ace of Wands and Ace of Love. Ace of Wands and Ace of Love. It's funny I should call it that. Ace of Wands and Ace of Cups. Little slip of the tongue there. Maybe it is. Maybe, you know, maybe you're in a position where you can't, it's really important because of some kind of confines that you're in, that you don't say something. And maybe just like a little slip of the tongue, right? Maybe just the wrong word comes out and it kind of gives you away. It's funny, I got REM, losing my religion as well. Being tactful, holding back, burdens. Queen of Wands, yeah. Yeah, this 10 of Swords, it's been getting something through this week. Sometimes the 10 of Swords kind of talks to me about Caesar, right? Et tu, Brute, the people who are closest to you stabbing you in the back. But this is in your thoughts, right in the center of your reading, in your thoughts. Are my friends going to stab me in the back here? Am I going to be betrayed? Are those closest to me going to hurt me? And it's been coming through this story, I think it's from Suetonius, where he says Caesar was warned, right, the Ides of March, Caesar was warned not to go to the Senate that day. And he knew, right, he had this intuition, especially with the High Priestess there as well. He had this intuition that he was going to, that was going to be his last day, you know, and his wife begged him not to go, but he said, no, I have to go. This is my fate, right? This is what has to be done. And so even though he knew he had all these foreboding signs that he shouldn't go to the Senate that day, he still went, right? And then, you know, the famous, you know, stabbed by his closest allies happened. So, and of course, that is a story. Suetonius was writing 200 years after the event happened. He wasn't an eyewitness. A lot of the things that we're told about Caesar are not necessarily contemporary. So... you know, a lot of anecdotes, a lot of hearsay, a lot of propaganda, perhaps. I'm thinking about Julius Caesar now, again, the Shakespeare play where he says, I saw him decline the crown 3 times. You know, he was offered the crown, this laurel wreath, right? And he said no. And then he was offered it again. He said no. And he was like, he didn't want, according to Shakespeare, again, writing what, like 1,600 years after Caesar was around, so a considerable amount of time. He was, you know, he was giving this portrayal of Caesar as well. I believe actually, did Shakespeare invent Et tu, Brute? I don't think anyone else said it before him. I don't think Suetonius said it. So again, back to knowing the truth is enough, right? What was that quote? Again, this is something that came through from my guides. It doesn't matter what people think. The only thing that matters is what you know. And the Queen of Swords knows. The High Priestess knows. Scorpio, Libra, maybe somebody who were on the cusp. They know and they don't. They're tactful, right? It's kind of like needs to know basis. Now, the Queen of Swords is normally brutally honest. You know, she normally speaks the truth. She normally communicates because she thinks that the devil hides in the dark, right? The secrets hide in the shadows. So if you speak the truth, if you call out, you know, deception or bad behavior when you see it, then it brings it into the light. And perhaps that's something to do with what this is as well. Could be something about gender politics, perhaps, about okay, let's just clarify. So you've got Eight of Wands, you've got communication, wanting to communicate in your heart, in your emotions, having something to say, or wanting to do something. It doesn't have to necessarily be speaking, but you've got this stuff about speaking. Feeling this pull to say something, to get something off your chest, or to get something done. It's a card about action. It's a card of momentum. Tell me about the Eight of Wands. What's the Eight of Wands? The Tower. You know that saying something, you know that speaking your truth, getting it off your chest, taking action is going to cause this Tower moment. It's going to create disorder. It's going to create chaos. Ace of Wands, please, for Scorpio. What's the Ace of Wands in your thoughts? A new idea, a new creative project, something you really want to get started on. And it feels like something you've been wanting to do. It feels like something you've had your eye on, or someone that you've had your eye on for a very long time. And you're thinking how you're thinking about, you could be thinking about ill health, but you've been thinking about how this has felt like a long burden, something that you've been dealing with for a long time. Tell me about that Nine of Wands. No, nothing else on that. Tell me about the Ace of Cups. Justice card. The Ace of Cups is unconditional love. It's it can indicate a new relationship, somebody new coming into your life, new feelings, a specific person perhaps stirring up passionate feelings for you, a lot of emotions, feels very exciting, feels possibly a little bit overwhelming and daunting because it's new. The Justice card with the Ace of Emotions, some kind of legality or contract, or again the Justice card has a veil, just like how the High Priestess has a veil. The Justice card has a veil because there's things going on behind the scenes that not everybody needs to know. Some things are best kept secret, and there's action being taken here. It may be action to draw up a contract, action to draw up an NDA, wanting to be honorable, because the Justice card carries a message of being honorable, being upfront, being doing the right thing, you know, doing things by the book in regards to this outpouring of emotions. What is the Ten of Swords? Why do you yeah, Six of Cups in reverse really feels like being betrayed by those closest to you, being betrayed by your own children, being betrayed by people you thought were your soulmates. It's not happening. It's not physically happening, but I feel like with it being in your thoughts, it's something that you're concerned about. Why is the High Priestess here? Because you or a person around you, sorry, I've got hair in the cards there. You or a person around you has some amount of success. It really just has that feeling of like Caesar, right? Being cheered on, being part of the parade. You know, people watching you, people cheering for you, having some sort of victory, having some sort of, there's that Queen of Swords again, having some kind of high honours. He's got this laurel wreath, right, on this stick. It's like, having a sense of achievement, but keeping it to yourself. Having a sense of deep knowing about something, but in terms of your own success or your own sense of victory, being in the spotlight of I can't get the words out now. That's really interesting. Let's go to the Queen of Swords, because she knows exactly the right thing to say at exactly the right time. What I find fascinating about the image of this card is that she's taking somebody's hand, but she has her other hand on her sword. So her sword is drawn, but she's holding the truth back, right? She has her truth at her side, and it's a source of, it's like she's prepared to use that truth, but at the moment she's allowing this person, this undisclosed person to take her hand, to lead her somewhere, but she's ready to use the sword of truth. So I feel like it's you almost feeling out a situation, because I do think you've got some fears. I do feel like there's something, because it leads into the sun, right? You've got the devil into the page of cups into the sun, and the sun is kind of about clarity, about things being revealed, about things coming to light, about being like, oh, everything makes sense now, after feeling like you were absolutely tied to something emotionally here and feeling very naive. It's like suddenly it's like the light dawns on this situation. So I feel like you feel really drawn to something, but you don't know. It's like it could be heaven or it could be hell, right? I don't know if this is a safe situation for me to express my feelings in it. I don't know if this is something that I should keep to myself. What if this is some kind of honey trap? Queen of Swords. The Lover's card, look at that. Justice card. Yeah, no, it feels right. As a reader, it feels like, because the thing is, the Queen of Wands is often misrepresented or misunderstood. The Queen of Wands is confident, she's bold, she says what she needs to say, she does what she needs to do. It's like the Princess Anne of the royal family, right? It's like she's not afraid to get out there and do what makes her feel good. Like Princess Anne, she loves horse riding. I think that's why I said that. So I mean, I don't know her personally. She could be a devil. I don't know her. She's not my bestie or anything. I've never met her. But yeah, so the Queen of Wands, bold, confident, says what she thinks. But when you find women who are normally very magnetic as well, they're very compelling, they have that magnetic pull, they represent confidence, like a confident woman, right? A confident, free woman who knows what she wants and probably expresses what she wants sexually as well. A lot of the time, these people are demonized. Now, that's not fair. If it was the Queen of Wands in the reverse, that would be a different situation, but it's the Queen of Wands in the upright. So this is a very, very positive, bold, confident woman. The sort of woman that would make a great queen, right? Because she's a leader, right? She's so spontaneous as well. But a lot of the time people are not trusting of this energy. It's like, why do I feel so connected to this person? Why do I feel so tied to this person? Why do I feel so like I'm being called to this, like a siren's call, right, to this person? But she is loyal. This is the thing. There's sunflower there representing loyalty, freedom, all the things that are, because it's Leo energy, all the things that are represented by the sun card. It's like she embodies that, right? She carries that energy. So the Queen of Swords, having options presented. So for a lot of you, it is a person that you find very attractive and very compelling, very magnetic. For others of you, it's just talking about a situation, a person, a thing that you feel really, really drawn towards. Like you really feel like this is for you. Your intuition is going nuts. It's like, but there's a lot of fear. I want to say there's a lot of fear because it's so new, right? It's like a new relationship, new emotions that you've not experienced before, a new job that you've not, you don't know how to do it. You feel like the page, right? Maybe like the King of Pentacles going into the page is like learning the ropes of a new job. It makes you feel unsure. And when you feel unsure, you feel this sense of fear. But the Lover's card here, they're guided by an angel, just like the Judgment card. The Judgment card is normally, they have this angel, that's the Archangel Gabriel, like, who's guiding them, right? Calling to them, to their soul's calling. And here, this angel has brought these two lovers together. Now this card used to be called the choice card because it talks about making a choice from your heart. Like there's no other choice that should be made. You shouldn't choose based on logic or what's right. You should choose based on what you know is right for you, right? What speaks to your heart, what makes you feel excited. And it feels like here in your action space, you're going to feel very clear about what this is. You're going to do perhaps the honorable thing. You're going to do this the right way. You're going to perhaps keep things to yourself or keep things quiet for a while. What was that quote again? It doesn't matter what they think. It only matters what you know, right? And if you know this is pure and right for you, you may want to lock it down as well with that Justice card there. I don't know. But you're just gonna know this is the Queen of Swords and the Lovers card together. That is getting very clear on something. It is a bit head and heart though. The Queen of Swords, she has strong defenses. There could be something where, well, with like, it kind of feels like prenup as well, like because the Queen of Swords, she's Libra energy, right? So she can love with her whole heart, and she loves very purely and very I mean, it depends, like if you've got a Libra, like look at the full birth chart, right? Especially like the Mars and the Venus sign, Mercury sign, Moon sign. But like Libra energy itself, it has that sense of high honor, and as does Leo if you're connecting with a Leo. They are energies of being honorable, of doing the right thing, right? But sometimes choosing the heart is the right thing to do. And I do think you can look at King Charles and see this as well, how he's always loved Camilla, right? He's always loved his queen consort. And they were thought not to be I think Camilla actually got married, or she was a divorcee or something, and she was seen as not the right match for him. So he was encouraged to date and marry Diana, and I think there was love there, but I don't think they were as much of a heartfelt match as perhaps Camilla turned out to be. You know, the love of his life, I think. When I again, I'm Libra, I romanticize things. So you know, it didn't work out with Diana, which was incredibly tragic and unfortunate. And, you know, let's leave that there. But now he's even though people told him he couldn't, because the Hierophant is marriage as well, yet you cannot marry this person is not appropriate, this person does not fit the tradition, this person does not fit the framework that we've laid out for you. You know, he's actually successfully married her, and she's become the queen consort. It's like what should have been all along, you know. In a way, if you want to romanticize it like me, maybe you feel differently about it, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not telling anyone what to think, but it has that kind of feeling of doing it the honourable way, doing it the right way, doing it logically and strategically, but doing it because it's right. Because it's what your heart is telling you to do. Let's go because this is really interesting. The Eight of Swords and the Hierophant. This is somebody who's absolutely trapped by the framework, trapped by the infrastructure, trapped by the traditions, the culture, the church, trapped in a marriage. Maybe somebody's thinking, am I going to be trapped in a marriage? Like Eight of Swords, Hierophant. That is watertight. I mean, there's no go, that is like locking it down. I don't know, maybe this is the thing you want to do. I want to lock it down with this person. I want to make sure that they are contracted to me. I want to make sure that, you know, if this is a job thing, right, you've taken on an apprentice, right, you're being the patron to someone. You don't want them running off to another, say it was a game company, right, because I was getting like Horizon and stuff. Say it was like you worked for a game company and you wanted to take on this apprentice and train them up, but you don't want them running off to another game development company for a higher wage, right? You want them to be loyal to you. So you're going to contract them. You're going to contract them into your company for 7 years, 3 years of training, 4 years of, you know, working for the people who trained you, paying it back, right? We're investing in you. We want you to return that investment. It could be something like a prenup. But that's what's going on in your thoughts. There's a lot of Justice card. How many times have we seen that card now? That's legalities, legal framework, perhaps. I don't know. Two of Pentacles. There's the Hermit. Trying to bring a situation into balance. So in the future here, I can see your heart space being like, I need to. There's something where I feel like I'm giving to two different situations. There's something where I feel like I'm kind of spinning plates here. And maybe I don't know which side to choose. You know, we've seen that Justice with the scales. We had Judgment. You know, it could be something to do with the courts. I really need to do some introspection here. I need to pull away. I need to you know, listen to my own advice. This is just like, for those of you who are religious or who you feel like, you know, you do listen to that inner voice a lot, you do listen to your higher self or God. This is like going away, having your own space, having some quiet time, really praying on it, really asking your guides for advice, and kind of waiting to make sure of what you feel, waiting to make sure that you get the clarity on, like, is this really my choice, or is this a choice that I'm being talked into? Is this a choice that I am it feels like divided loyalty, right? But if you feel pulled in lots of different directions, or you feel like you're at a point in your life where you have to make a very serious decision, perhaps with that, all that contract energy there, all that framework, all that legality, all that locking it down energy, or locking into something energy, really make sure, it's like that moment of, am I going to marry this person? I need to check my heart on this. I need to, you know, maybe spend a week alone, maybe, you know, go off on your own for a walk in the woods and really think on it. You know, is this really what I want to do? Do I really want to commit to this for the long term? Because that is really a very, very fixed energy. But that's in your thoughts, right? That's not in your action space. Your action space is 10 of Wands. There's that Judgment card, which is heavy burdens. But the lovely thing about this 10 of Wands is it is almost coming home again, right? It is getting to a place where you can put the baggage down. It's making me think of like how all those people had to, you know, those 8 people had to carry the Queen's coffin for that really long march, right? Yes, it could have been seen as a burden, but it was also seen as a very high honor, right? Like being of service, like a burden that's borne honorably, a burden that's borne gladly, a burden that's borne respectfully, you know, and with a huge sense of responsibility, and I'm hearing gratitude. Like it's like the institution, right? Like doing what needs to be done, shouldering that burden, and marching one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. That long route, if you watched it, it was such a long route in quite a, you know, the midday sun as well. It's quite it's not a super hot day, but you know, it must be warm walking around with those big fluffy hats on and things like that. So you know, doing it one step in front of the other until it's done, and they were able to kind of put that coffin in the back of the car, and it's like their duty was done. The 10 of Wands is like you're almost home, right? You can almost put down that heavy weight. But let's see, 10 of Wands, 10 of Wands. God, what a fascinating reading. Success, you've done it. Success, you've gained your military honours. You've gained the recognition for the hard work and the commitment that you've put into this. Like, yes, it's been a long road. Yes, it's been a weight on your shoulders, but it could be that the success itself, the success is the weight on your shoulders. Being in a position of having a lot of eyes on you, having a lot of people watching you, is the weight on your shoulders, you know? Could also be that. I don't know. I feel like your advice, you've got a lot of stuff about making things right, making things fair, making things balanced. Whatever you're doing, Scorpio, whatever this is applying to, I really, really strongly think that, you know, this is not, if you're thinking about committing to something, or having someone to commit to you, I really think you want to make sure that this is what your heart wants, right? This is what your soul wants. By doing that hermit mode energy, by going within, spending some quiet time alone, you know, slowing things down. If you need to slow things down and really think about it until you're sure, I think that that's the right thing to do. You know, if you want to pray on it, you know, pray on it. But there's definitely a lot of responsibilities, a lot of burdens, a lot of feeling like everybody's eyes are on you and feeling like you have to keep things private. So very, very curious reading. Again, not intentionally not intentionally reading for King Charles. It just happened to fall this way, but absolutely curious. I would never intentionally read for a public figure, by the way. I would never, like, I don't think I would ever go, let's do a reading for King Charles, let's do a reading for the Queen. And I'm definitely not going to do a clickbait title on it, because I don't want to draw in that kind of, I don't do things for the for the drama, right? I don't do things for the clickbait. Whoever comes to this reading, I hope is going to draw something from this reading, perhaps, because a lot of time they think, you know, we can look at the media, we can look at TV, we can look at games and see, you know, our own personal issues reflected in the media or the events that are happening in the world around us, you know. And a lot of the time we look to, when we have a choice point, when we have a decision to make, we can look for examples of that, you know, like who else do I know, maybe a character in a book who's you know, experienced a similar thing, like what did they do, what was the outcome of that. So it feels a little bit like that. It feels a little bit like, yes, this is something that's happening on the world stage, but it's, you know, these kind of and I would never dare to know, you know, what goes on behind closed doors at the palace. That's not my place to know that. And I would never like abuse my power as an intuitive reader in that way to kind of intentionally spy on, I don't know, a public figure. But like, you know, I'm very open. The messages that come through, I don't know. You always get me doing like some kind of psych evaluation on myself, Scorpio. I had to take the last reading down because that one was really curious. That one was really interesting. That really felt like I'd had a therapy session with like Freud or Carl Jung. I was like, I spilled all my secrets. So I did. I took the reading down. It felt uncomfortably close, right? And if anyone ever said to me, like, take that reading down, that is like, you know, all my secrets spilled there, I think I would, if I was asked nicely. Again, I tried to do this respectfully. Go the distance, yeah, get to the finish line. Do what needs to be done. Community. Maybe ask the community to help you. Giraffes symbolize Aquarius for me. So if there's an Aquarius around you, you may want to just kind of like see what they say. Something about a leopard never changes its spots as well, but the spots are falling off this one. Like, it's just making me think as well of that little that scene I showed you where, you know, it was she hugged the woman and she kind of turned to dust. Again, very symbolic, right? It's so strange. Like, the way my intuition works, I never know what it is. Like, I get these messages and I'm like, you know, sometimes they feel really far-fetched as well. Sometimes they feel like really like they only belong in the land of films or fantasy. But, you know, actually that sequence, you know, she was called Elizabeth, you know, and I don't know, I guess monarchs get entombed, right? Monarchs get interred. What is it? The good men are often interred with their bones. So be it with Caesar. That's Julius Caesar Brutus's funeral speech. Go the distance, endurance, strength, the long haul. I have to say as well, I'm doing this reading, so I kind of watched them put the coffin into that car, and the car drove off through the streets, and it looked like they were going to another church. So I don't know what's going to happen inside that second church. It looked like they were about to do a second funeral, and I didn't watch it. I came to do the reading, so if I have somehow channeled that second funeral, I don't know if it's going to be televised or if it's going to be private. I don't really know anything about that, but if I'm coming out with like Shakespeare quotes, I don't know. I want to see if King Charles does a funeral speech for his mum. I want to see that. So I guess if it's happened while I'm doing this reading, I have to go and look it up, like look for like the replay of it. But if I happen to be channeling that as he's doing it, that would be incredibly fascinating to me. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Endurance, strength. And again, I'm not going to do something. I'm not kind of showboating here. I'm not trying to show off or flex or I don't know what's going to happen, right? I could make a fool of myself and like none of that happens. Or it could be spot on. I don't know. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone. Again, like back to that quote, it doesn't matter what people think. The only thing that matters is what you know. Especially if it's just you and God, right? You and that one person. If you're religious, like there's only one person that you have to answer to at the end of the day. You know, there's only one person who really knows everything that goes on behind closed doors, and it's not me, it's not you, right? It's you know, the ultimate person that you have to answer to. And whether you want to see that as God, whether you want to see it as like, you know, was it Thoth, who I always get mixed up, Osiris or Thoth, who weighs your soul against a white feather. You know, whoever you think you have to answer to, you know, on Judgment Day, it's not you or me or King Charles, right? It's the big man and the person that you should be, you know, those energies, those higher selves, whatever you want to call it, that, you know, really know the truth. Okay, it doesn't matter what people think, it matters what you know. Okay, go the distance. Endurance, strength, the long haul just makes me think of all those people marching along that route. So the general message, the oracle message: to bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there's no need to fear the occasional obstacle, like horse poo in the road. If you watch that parade, it's not a parade. Is it a parade? I don't know. Procession, that's the word. Life is not a sprint. Life is a procession, right? Life is not a sprint, life is a procession. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry you all the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity, what was I saying? Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. Relationship message: you are either in or, so if it's a romance situation or a friendship situation or like you know, romance, like relationships in general, I'm going to read this message for you. You are either in or are calling in a harmonious relationship that can stand the test of time, for better or worse. Some of you could be thinking about marriage, definitely. For better or worse, as you ride the ups and downs and even strain, break yourself and are remade in new growth. You are being redeemed by the power of regeneration. Harmony does not mean there will never be a wrong note played, but that the relationship is marked by endurance and a dedication to overall unity, right? Locking it down. A new song can be written, an instrument can be tuned, and the symphony of love will play on. Another Shakespeare quote. Listen with your heart, isn't it magnificent? If music be the sound, if music be the sound of love, play on. Poor Asario. Asario is he's very love struck, but he's in love with somebody who does not return the feelings. But it has a happy ending, right? He's close. It's like he's, what am I getting here from 12th Night? It's like Asario's in love with Olivia, right? Is that a name, Olivia? I think it is. It's been a while since I've kind of like read the plays, but he's absolutely obsessed with her. He cannot stop thinking about her. He wants her, right? And she doesn't return the feelings. But I mean, I'm going to do spoilers here, but 12th Night has been around for like 400 years. So if you've not seen it by now, tough, I'm going to spoil it. So, but there's two twins, right? Viola, and I want to say Sebastian, but I could have that name wrong. So, but the two, I'm going to call them Sebastian, but I may have the name wrong, right? Viola and Sebastian, they're twins. There's a girl and a boy, and Viola dresses up as a boy and is kind of like going between Viola and Olivia and Asario, kind of carrying these messages between them. Viola falls in love, like Viola dressed as a boy, so very much like this, right? The Apprentice and the Duke. Viola falls in love with Asario, and Asario doesn't realize, because it's heterosexual, but it's playing around with gender roles, right, and sexuality. Like, I love that about Shakespeare. So Viola dressed as a boy, acting as this page, as this messenger, like absolutely in love with Asario, and taking Asario's love letters and saying them to Viola, and Viola falls in love with, saying them to Olivia, the Duchess, right? And Olivia falls in love with Viola. So there's this love triangle, because Viola's dressed as a boy, like Olivia's in love with her, and she can't tell Asario that she loves him. So, but like, because Shakespeare has this surprise up his sleeve that makes everything okay. Like, Sebastian shows up, and Olivia's like, "Oh wait, you are almost exactly the same as Viola, who I'd fallen in love with, but you're a guy, so that makes it okay." So they get together, and Asario like realizes that Viola, who's been by his side this entire time, is a girl and he's like, hey, maybe we should get married. So it has a happy ending, right? And yeah, it goes back to gender norms, but he definitely plays around with the gender norms a little bit in that play. He definitely, usurps sexuality a little bit for comedic value, but I feel like that's how he got away with it. But I think that the fact that those things were played around with back then is a sign that, maybe some people were questioning, the status quo a little bit. I don't know, that could be something for someone. Okay, for those of you where it's like work or finances or career, your most precious dreams are not about instant gratification, but enduring prosperity, right? It's not a sprint, it's a march. This is a time to think long term and engage in continued action. You will experience momentum building as you translate the ebb and flow into slow and steady movement forwards. Your efforts, ideas, and hard work now can lead to greater riches than you can imagine. Stoke the fires so that an uninterrupted stream of energy is available to support you in all the phases of manifestation. Be assured that you are in the right place right now. So I don't know, I think that's a really positive reading. I think you've got a lot of fear because there's something new. It's like something new speaking to your heart, right? And you're very, very tied up in it and you're feeling like it's a bad thing. But I want to say it's not as scary as you think it is, right? It's not a sign that you're about to be betrayed or anything like this. And again, it's like, be true to yourself, to thine own self be true, right? Because, again, like, you have to be true to your own soul, right? And your own soul's calling, and you really have to follow your destiny in terms of what your own inner guidance is saying to you, because I really think that inner guidance is really God's voice, whatever you want to see God as. But you seem to be saying, is it God or is it the devil? Am I being tricked here? You seem to have some fear around that, but I don't know. You keep soul searching. And just be sure, right? If you're going to get into a long-term commitment and you're having doubts, can you delay it? Can you say, I just need a bit more time because, I've got really nervous about it. I mean, I guess King Charles doesn't have a choice. He's had greatness thrust upon him, right? So I don't know. I'm going to go and stop quoting Shakespeare at you all. I don't know I don't know why so much Shakespeare's coming through. I guess it's because of that, but I'm going to go. Shall I get you a song before I go? One more song, and I'm seeing 1555 on the timestamp. I talk too much. in case trying to silence yourself. Maybe like me, just blurt everything out. Advice, please, or light bulb moment, tower moment, advice, direction, whatever. Beautiful Liar. Oh no. Beautiful Liar by Beyonce and Shakira. Nobody likes being played. He said I'm worth it, his one desire. I know things about them that you wouldn't want to read about. He kissed me, his one and only. Yes, beautiful liar. Tell me how you tolerate the things that you've just found out about. You never know. Why are we the ones who suffer? I have to let go. He won't be the one to cry. Let's not kill the karma. Let's not start a fight. It's not worth the drama for a beautiful liar, right? So yeah, karma, like, handle things with grace, handle things with, a stiff upper lip, if you like. Handle things, you know the truth. And there might be drama around you. There might be people trying to get information out of you. And it might just be worth, taking whatever this is in your stride and taking it gracefully. Can we not laugh about it? It's not worth our time. We can just live without him. Just a beautiful lie. I trusted him, but when I followed you, I saw you together. I didn't know about you then till I saw you with him. When I walked in on your love, slow dancing, you stole everything. How can you say I did you wrong? We'll never know. When the pain and heartbreak's over, I have to let go. The innocence is gone. Tell me how to forgive you when it's me who's ashamed. And I wish could free you of the hurt and the pain. But the answer is simple. He's the one to blame. So obviously, Shakira and Beyonce are playing the role of two different women here who have been two-timed by a guy, and they found out about each other. But instead of catfighting, they are like, we're better than that, right? So I don't know, I'm gonna go. I don't know what I've got into here, and I'm just gonna get back out of it slowly. Best of luck, Scorpio, and do take care of yourselves. God, an hour and 23 minutes again. My readings are getting so long. I try and make short readings and it doesn't happen. Take care of yourselves and stay classy. What is it? Stay classy, San Francisco, San Diego, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.